All right, let's begin. Hi, everyone. This is Josh from Zoe, and I welcome you to our latest merchant webinar. We've actually been doing this series for just about a year now, so actually it's also good timing that we're bringing back one of our earliest presenters for an update and sort of a refresher about 71 pounds. The presentation's title, No Investment, Just Refunds, is seriously what this is all about. There is no upfront costs to using 71 pounds, which is one of the things I think is really exciting about it, but it's very helpful for you as a merchant to make sure that you're being properly taken care of when it comes to your shipping. So we have John and Mary on the line, who's going to be speaking with you momentarily to tell you a bit more about that and how you can benefit. As always, we'd like to remind you how you can contribute to the conversation. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session available for you. You can submit any and all questions that you have, and we'll review it on the call. So please feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will use that as a part of our conversation after we complete the presentation. And we'd like to remind you that there are other merchant webinars that we've done in the past, and you can view them at zoe.com/merchant-webinars. We are up to 15 recordings, and this will be number 16, so there's plenty of great information. So for those of you who are newer to this series, definitely take a look at that. You'll find a lot of great information as a business owner. We try to focus on ways that we can make you more efficient, make you more money, or save you money. So all things that a new business will benefit from, of course. And we have some of our recordings on YouTube as well, so you can also go onto the Zoe Commerce channel to check it out. I always like to try to start the presentation with a bit of context, so let's talk about the space that we're looking at today, which is shipping. So the first thing to be aware of is, on average, 95% of packages are delivered on time. For those of you who are thinking about what on time means, you might not think about this as being a good percentage, and you might think that you do better. But what that means doesn't mean whether your customer complains. What it means is that FedEx or UPS, for instance, just actually met the guarantee that they promised you. If they said they would deliver it by noon and it's on the doorstep at 12:05, that's late. So that's something to keep in mind about that, about what you're hearing today. Also, there can be pockets of time when those numbers get worse. Think about the holiday season and all of the last-minute shopping deadlines. For example, FedEx in 2015, their busiest delivery date, December 23rd, they only were able to deliver 77% of their packages on time. So that means that nearly a quarter of the packages were late in some form. There have been actually worse years when there's been winter weather and other situations that have created other weird situations that have driven those numbers even lower, but I feel like this is a representative example from recent years. Another thing to think about is that 1 out of every 200 packages, about 0.55% according to FedEx, of the packages are lost. So not only can packages be late, but they can also be lost. So it's just something to be keeping in mind as you're hearing this presentation. And then the volume. There are 25 million packages a day on average shipped by FedEx and UPS. So if you put that 95% statistic against 25 million, you're talking about over 1 million packages a day that are late. That's a lot, and you might be involved in that. So that's the purpose of the presentation today, is to introduce now John and Mary from the 71 Pounds team. They're going to talk about their service and how those statistics can be turned from a negative into a positive for you as a business owner. So John, Mary, we're going to pass it over to you to begin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josh. And John is here with me.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you putting this all into context for us, and we appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you today. Here's a picture of the two of us, John Bressett and Mary Burris. We are the partner managers here at 71 Pounds, and we work very closely with Josh at Zoe. And again, we welcome the opportunity to speak with you. As he mentioned earlier, no investment, just refunds from UPS and FedEx. That's exactly it in a nutshell. I mean, we could literally end the webinar right now. We're here to reduce your shipping costs and better understand your shipping expenses. As he mentioned earlier, there are late deliveries, there are lost and damaged packages, as well as invoice errors. A lot of those that gonna go unnoticed. We also help you understand the complicated shipping costs and fees that are implemented through both UPS and FedEx, as well as help you gain insight into your shipping spend and your shipping operation with our robust dashboard. The great thing about our service is there are no upfront costs or subscriptions. There's no contracts, no fees. We work strictly on a contingency basis, which we'll go into a little later. We've been partners with Zoe since 2016, and we share very similar mission statements. We work closely with B2B businesses, e-commerce businesses, small, medium, and mid-sized businesses. We try to help with shipping and logistics. We try to help you save money and understand the shipping operation, as well as Zoe helps with technology for the merchants without having to spend too much money and tap too far into their own budgets. Here is a summary of what we'll be discussing today. We just went through the introduction. Next, we'll discuss our services and how important auditing is. A lot of companies don't have the ability, the time, or the resources to do their own auditing, which is where we're here to help. Also, what sets us apart from other similar type companies. We offer a lot more than what you may have seen out there in the marketplace. And then our simple sign-up process.
Great, thanks, Mary. So our story, the reason we're good at what we do is because our founder was a FedEx executive. For over 20 years, he saw from the other side what the problems were. He recognized that there were small and mid-sized companies that were not getting the same advantages that the larger companies were. He learned this at Jamba Juice as well, where these small companies and mid-sized companies would go to the carriers and say, hey, listen, we need some information, we need some help. And the larger carriers said, well, wait a minute, you don't have enough ship, you don't spend enough, so call the 800 number, and that's how we'll help you going forward. So that is really what our FedEx executive learned, our founder. The number one pain point for companies is saving money on shipping and understanding those shipping costs. Because those shipping costs and understanding those is the key leverage needed when you go back to FedEx and UPS and you negotiate better rates. Here's a visual. We've got on the left-hand side, Jose Lee, our CEO and founder, Ellen Riley, former bank executive and our COO, and then, of course, our people officer. And we have some well-known board members. You can see just from their icons of the companies they're with, we are backed and funded and advised by some of the best in the industry. So how does it work? Basically, it's a set it and forget it. And I hate to say that, but it's true. We get the credentials, we log on to the FedEx and UPS electronically, and we automatically scrub the invoices for shipping refunds. Now, it's not just an automatic service. We have a full staff of customer success folks that are here to answer your questions or your chats. However you prefer to talk with us, we have that available for you. And then automatically, 100% of your refund from FedEx and UPS is sent directly back to you. We do not keep any of that until you already receive your refund. Once we know exactly what you've been refunded, 71 Pounds sends you that invoice for that amount. So what is a service failure? There's a big number involved with late delivery. If you see, there's over $2 billion annually that goes left unclaimed. Let me just touch on that. The reason it goes unclaimed is because of the effort required to get the claim back. However, we have a full staff of people that love to call UPS and FedEx and fight on your behalf. That is a huge differentiator and a value that 71 Pounds brings to you. So we're looking at deliveries arriving late, invoice errors happen, or lost or damaged shipments occur. But it's complex. And we recognize, as our founder did, those small mid-sized companies do not have a payroll that's large enough to support someone to come in and only do invoice auditing. That's our value. So what is audited? Late deliveries, incorrect Saturday charges, duplicate unused labels, incorrect dim weight charges. Let me pause on that center one. I'm sure you're wondering where the name 71 Pounds comes from. It's because of incorrect dimensional weight charges. Up to 70 pounds, there is a fee. It's around $3. Once that package goes to 71 pounds, that fee can go from $3 up to $150. Now, not right away. It's on an incremental scale, but that scale starts at that 1 pound, 71 pounds. Other invoice auditing is lost or damaged, incorrect address, residential versus commercial surcharges. So why is this valuable to you as the business owner? Well, because we can give you that easy to read data, you get insights into your shipping spend. Because I mean, personally, I've gone to the FedEx UPS website. I've looked up clients' shipping information, and it's difficult to say the least. And I think that has a lot to do with the structure that FedEx and UPS offers. They don't really want you to know exactly how you're shipping, where you're shipping, how much, because then you've got some negotiation leverage when you're looking for discounts on shipping or you're looking to get easy refunds. Which is why there's a $2 billion number that is left unclaimed. It's confusing. But there's other advantages of the shipment auditing is we can consolidate your FedEx UPS accounts into one dashboard, which we'll get into. Track and verify shipment details, better negotiate your shipping rate with the carrier, and optimize your operations logistically. So what makes us different? It's going to be our live customer success team. These folks are awesome, and they're here to answer your call. If you want to talk to someone live, just call. If you want to chat, that's fine too. But they love to fight with UPS and FedEx on your behalf. And of course, we're a robust team. We've got a huge marketplace. It allows us to give you resources into all of your industries that you're looking for trusted partners as well. Our system is proactive. We go out, we track those shipments and refunds for you, and we compile that data directly from FedEx and UPS on your behalf. And then, of course, our dashboard. And take a moment and look at the icon that's moving here. This is an exact copy of the dashboard we offer to you. It is an immense tool if it's something you find value in. Some of my clients, they prefer just to get their check and they're happy they know they got their refund. Others need to know exactly what was spent, what was shipped, how much, and to where. You see there's a picture of a pie chart, the bar graph, as well as the states. We have colored zones that shows exactly where percentages of your shipping goes to and where it comes from. We know exactly what your ship is. We know what your refunds are. It's an immense tool with so much data, and it's so big, it allows you resources, access to resources that you currently don't have unless you have a dashboard like this. And I say that with confidence because I know you're not getting it directly from FedEx or UPS. Some fast facts about 71 pounds. We serve all industries. It's a wide net we cast because pretty much if you're a United States or Canadian-based company and you ship with FedEx or UPS, we can help you. Now, I bring this up proactively because one of the key questions we get from our clients is, well, how can I trust you with my security information? As I mentioned, our COO is a former bank executive, and you know that's a regulated industry. Your information there is private and well kept. We've taken that same SSL technology and we've implemented that into our standards as well. So we've been able to duplicate the security the banks have with your FedEx and UPS information with our servers. So trust that it is protected behind the firewall, that the same firewall that the banks use. But what's the proof point? We have been in business for over 5 years. We have over 5,000 clients. As you can read, we are from Mossad. We're extremely satisfied with 71 pound shipping refund service. It doesn't cost us anything unless they find the refunds. And when they do, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. I'd recommend this to any business. Jellyfish Art. As a business, we find that customers do not always notify us of situations when shipments arrive late. However, in this case, we are eligible for refunds. 71 pounds ensures that we don't leave money on the table. And Josh mentioned on this earlier, I'm going to make one more point to this. You're not in the business of collecting refunds on your shipping. You're in the business of doing what you do for money. Now, if the customer doesn't complain, you're not going to know that there was an issue or wasn't an issue, but you paid a premium to FedEx and UPS to have it there at a certain time. That's where we come in to help you. DNA motoring. Credits appear directly on your online account with our shipping carrier, and 71 pound notifies us each week with a detailed report. I'd recommend 71 pounds to any business that ships. It just makes sense. So let's look at some hard numbers. Say you have a total ship of $50,000. On average, about 5% of those packages arrive late. 5% of 50,000 is $2,500. Once those claims are approved and fought for, we give you a full UPS and FedEx gives you a full refund of the $2,500 you are due. We send you an invoice after you have that money in your bank account. It's simple. Mary?
So the sign-up process for our service is actually very simple as well. To start, it would be helpful if you were to verify that you have online billing with your shipping carrier. That's how we're able to automatically monitor your shipping account online. You create an account by using this website, and if you have access to a computer or your mobile phone, if you want to visit this email address here, website www.71pounds.com/Zoe. It will take you to our sign up page. All you need to provide us with is your company name and your email address. If you happen to have your UPS and or FedEx login, user ID, and password, you can enter those right there on the sign up page. And we literally go back 2 weeks to identify any potential late deliveries, invoice errors, or lost and damaged, and try to recoup those funds with the carrier. We would go back farther if we were able, but the carrier sets those limits. But if you sign up today, we can go back 2 weeks. You will automatically review your shipping analytics on your dashboard. Once you sign up and create an account, that dashboard exists. And we start downloading the information. We download it on a daily basis. So it's current every time you sign in. Our customer success team, as John mentioned earlier, they're dedicated to answering any questions. Aside from fighting for your claims on your behalf, they're available by phone or online chat, and they are what separates us from all the other competitors out there. We are the #1 shipping refund service company in the country, and as John mentioned earlier, we service both United States and Canadian-based companies. So with that, John, do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you for your time. We'll open it up to questions. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. So I'm going to leave that slide up just for a moment again so people can write down the URL. We'll also paste it in the chat before we're done today, but it's www.71pounds.com/Zoe, where you can go to sign up for an account that does not cost anything up front. Again, just want to emphasize there's no sign-up cost. There's no subscription fee. You pay 71 pounds when they are able to successfully find a refund, which effectively means, and John and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, but that also allows for them to leverage the analytics as part of the account right away. So they'll get that 2 weeks, and then the data will continue to flow even before the first refund is issued. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Regardless of whether refunds are found or not, that information is available to you. We have customers that sign in on a daily basis. We have customers that sign in on a monthly basis. That tool is available to you however you need to use it and whenever you need to use it.
Exactly. So for those of you who use Google Analytics or other tools for e-commerce analytics or Zoe Analytics today, we're taking the data that the store collects and you're visualizing it and making it more accessible so that way you can make smarter business decisions about your e-commerce business. So similarly, 71 pounds is now taking the shipping data that's already available from FedEx and UPS. They're visualizing that for you as well. So not only are you able to get refunds, but you're able to learn about your shipping patterns, which may be valuable in the future. So there's a lot of compelling things here from my perspective for you as a merchant to think about if you're not doing this today. Hopefully you'll take a look at that. But for the moment, let me shift us now to Q&A. Just as a reminder that you can submit using the questions feature within GoToWebinar your questions for the Q&A. We're going to now at this time review the questions to provide answers. Feel free to submit any questions that you have. We'll go over as many as we have with the time allotted, but obviously a very simple and to the point presentation, so we've got some time. So let me ask you both a couple questions then, just to kind of get things started that come in often about this type of thing. And one is around minimums. Do you have to be shipping a minimum number of packages to be able to use 71 pounds?
Great question. Thank you. No, in fact, you could ship 20,000 a year or less, or 2 million a year. There really is no consideration to use our service from that point of view. It obviously understanding that your ship amount is going to directly relate to your refund amount. So the more you ship, the more refunds you'll have.
Perfect. Another thing that you hit on that a question came up around is relating to that I actually didn't personally know, so I'd love to explore this for a moment. Is you mentioned duplicate labels. Can you speak to that? Because I think I'm sure every business at some point has accidentally printed an extra label here or there and may not have even noticed it and paid for it. So I'm curious if you could just mention what that's about.
Yeah, Josh, thanks so much for bringing that up. In fact, it applies to UPS specifically. If you use UPS and you create a shipping label and for whatever reason you don't use it, you will still be charged for that shipment. They call it manifested, not shipped, so that will show up on your invoice. We track your invoices for that, so if it wasn't scanned for pickup, and ultimately not delivered, we go back and file a claim against that manifested not shipped. With FedEx, it's not an issue. If you create a label and FedEx doesn't come and scan it, then it's not charged to your shipping account. But with UPS it is, and it's called manifested not shipped. So we track your invoices for that as well.
Excellent. The next question we have is they were just asking about the specific percentage of shipping refunds taken by 71 pounds. So maybe you just want to get into the pricing specifically of how that works when you do successfully get a refund.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a contingency-based service, so there is no fee to participate. But we do retain a portion of what you find for our service. Right now, it's split at half of what we find for you, we keep, 50-50.
Makes sense. And obviously, since your manpower is working to secure the refund, find the refund, successfully secure it so it gets paid, there's obviously an investment of time on the 71-pound side to make that happen.
There is. And, the feedback we've gotten from our existing clients is that they'd rather have half of something than 100% of nothing.
Right. Makes sense to me. Here's another question that's come in from the participants. How does 71-pound system distinguish between a manually voided manifested but not shipped UPS shipping label and a manifested but not shipped label that 71 pounds identifies?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. When you say manually, you mean that it wasn't created in the UPS system?
I'll let whoever submitted the question have a moment to send in a clarification, since it's obviously I've just got what's on the screen here. But hopefully we'll get that clarified in a moment. Here's another question that came in. So obviously 71 pounds is reading into what's coming through the carriers. Once that data is sort of built up, are there other things that 71 pounds offers to further help you save money on shipping?
Well, we have our lost or damaged, which is a great tool. But using those analytics specifically, we have seen clients go back to FedEx and UPS with their exact shipping values and use that as leverage to negotiate a better rate. Without these analytics, you're relying on the carrier to provide those to you, unless you're a large corporation. And, I've described our service sometimes as like Robinhood, where we're helping out the small, mid-sized business, just like the big guys are doing, but we're coming in to help them out as well.
Right, and I think it might be helpful to cite a couple of examples that I've heard of that might probably help illustrate this. If you're a regional business and you're shipping to a certain region consistently, that can have an impact. And the other one I've heard is package sizing being consistent. So if you're selling a product that's consistently shipped with a roughly same size package and same size weight, because you have some consistency that might affect your shipping rates. Is that a fair examples to use?
Absolutely. And we have clients that use our analytics as a proof point when going back to negotiate with the carriers, specifically with those.
You can actually show a screenshot of the data and so forth.
Absolutely.
And we have the clarification. So sometimes sometimes print shipping labels, but then you come back to void them a few days or a week later. So I guess the question is, can you identify the difference between one that's been manually voided by the merchant versus one that hasn't?
Because our system automatically monitors the online shipping or the online billing invoices, if it was done manually, we wouldn't have the ability to capture that. But we've received requests online where they've either written into us online chat via email to support@71pounds.com, or they'll call it in, and all they need to do is provide us with the tracking number or the shipping label number, and we'll fight that claim for them. Are you still there, Josh?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, I actually muted myself for a moment there.
Oh,
So the last question that I have at this point. Oh, sorry, we will have two more questions. So let's start with the 71 pounds cover international shipments, and I guess we'll frame that since you've already declared U.S. and Canada international shipments from U.S. and businesses that are in the U.S. and Canada. Let's frame it that way.
It is. It is good for shipments throughout the entire world. The only caveat is the company and FedEx UPS account has to be based in the United States or Canada. There's no restriction on where it's shipped to. It's just where is the location of the FedEx UPS account number.
Got it. So merchants that are in the UK, for instance, cannot use 71 pounds, but if you are a US merchant shipping packages to the UK, those shipments would certainly be part of this process.
Absolutely correct.
Perfect. And they said, thank you. We're happy to help. And then one last question. So I just want to talk about the security aspect of it a bit more because I do think it's one that's just helpful to underscore. What happens is obviously you have to authenticate 71 pounds into your account the first time. And then once that connection has been made, it's similar to Mint, I think is the best sort of analogy I can give all of you, where in Mint you're supposed to put your banking information in the first time so they can make a connection. And then it's all data under the hood. They don't save your username and password and keep using it. It's an API connection that's tokenized. So effectively, just like when you save credit cards in Zoe, you're not saving the actual credit card, you're saving on a token, which is sort of that authentication code to allow for future data to go back and forth. Is that a fair description?
Couldn't have said it better. That's absolutely correct.
Perfect.
So I think it's important to mention that because when you go to that sign up form, you are going to see the ability to type in your FedEx and UPS accounts, that 71pounds.com/Zoe URL we gave you. So I just like to mention that because it catches some people off guard, but it's part of the process, and you have to be able to prove that you own the account that you're using for the refunds.
Absolutely correct. And we've seen a situation a year or two goes by, everything going smoothly, and then suddenly we have a hiccup on the account, and it's because there was a password change, and it requires a quick phone call, and then we're right back in pace.
Exactly. So it looks like we've gotten through all of the questions that have been submitted by the room. So I do want to thank both John and Mary for joining us today on the presentation. Just as a reminder for those of you who attended today, we would love to have your feedback about this presentation as well as what other topics you'd like to hear more about. You can email me at josh@zoe.com, and I'll be happy to talk with you about that. And a reminder that we will have more webinars to come. You can also view the recordings of previous sessions, including this one, within about 24 hours at www.zoe.com/merchant-webinars. And you'll be able to also see, we will have a couple of sessions coming up in March that we are finalizing now, so keep an eye out in your email for that. Having said all that, thank you to everyone who attended, and we hope you'll join us for the next presentation. Until now, we're signing off. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.